My name is Simoun Ung. I'm the President and CEO of Wycliffe Associates based in Orlando, Florida. I'm concurrently the Chairman of World Vision Philippines. World Vision Philippines is also known as World Vision Development Foundation. I'm also the Chairman of the Board for the Biblical Seminary of the Philippines. I think it's the only seminary right now in the Philippines with a Chinese and English track with separate faculty. I'm also on the Board of Trustees of Far East Broadcasting Corporation, Board Advisor for Wycliffe Bible Translators Philippines, and an elder at our home church, Grace Christian Church of the Philippines. Stewardship is primordial. Really, at the end of the day, we're dealing with God's money. And so the highest standards must be applied. I always use the analogy, if I were to spend my own money foolishly, that's on me. But if I were to spend God's money foolishly, I don't want to be sitting at the feet of the judgment seat trying to explain that one to our omniscient and omnipotent Lord. And so, we take great pains in any organization I'm involved with, even World Vision Philippines with all its established controls, processes and procedures. When I chaired the audit committee, we made many changes as well to be able to strengthen, especially some of the reporting from the field, how we spend money, what percentage of the donors' money goes to the field. Those are ratios that we watch very closely because at the end of the day, it's the Lord's money. And we do the same thing in Wycliffe Associates as well. Of course, we get our external third-party auditors, but we also conduct our own checks and balances in terms of how we design the processes and procedures. I guess for me, because I'm an independent director of Maybank in the Philippines and also the CEO of OmniPay, which is a financial institution as well, these are both heavily regulated by the central bank. And so the governance, stewardship, accountability, transparency, all of that are very, very closely scrutinized by the regulators, as you can imagine. And so we want to be able to be balanced, that same sort of strict compliance to be able to safeguard the resources entrusted to us by God and by the donors to make sure that we're spending the money in the right place. And so that's part of our design, and that's really something that we find has to be carefully cultivated, and especially here in the Asian context. We understand many ministries were born out of the post-World War II era, and there's been generational changes. And really, part of our Asian culture is we rely so much more on relationships, not enough on documentation, and we don't do a lot of formal governance structures. And that's really, I think, our calling as this generation is to be able to marry the best of the East and West, taking the relational aspects of the East, where we treat everybody from a relational standpoint and not a transaction, but also be able to bring in the Western governance standards so that we can uphold the highest standards available to us on this side of glory, to be able to safeguard the Lord's money and be able to use it responsibly as stewards. I don't want to be sitting someday. For me, the worst case is if we were a steward and we were the ones that buried the talent in the ground, right? So that's what keeps me up at night, to make sure whatever organization, whatever ministry we're involved in, we want to uphold the highest standards possible. I think ICCSA is a fantastic idea. I wish we had one that we could use all around the world whenever we work with our partner organizations. Part of the challenge is, because Wycliffe is global, Wycliffe Associates has a global reach, and we work with partners all around the world. The vetting process of who that partner is, do we share the same faith? Some may say they do, but don't live it, for example. And so we're very careful who we partner with. We have to go through extensive due diligence, and a lot of it is informal or goes through paper process without necessarily meeting all the right people. If there were an ICCSA type equivalent everywhere we worked with, then it would be just easy. We would just look for the accreditation seal and it's like, okay, we're good to go, right? And I think that sort of efficiency in bringing that sort of business efficiency into missions is also in itself a form of responsible stewardship, because we're spending less money, less time, less resources, and being able to still complete the work. I would strongly encourage anyone who's on the fence to join ICCSA. We certainly plan to.